Boo, and welcome to my Halloween episode of Hey, Have You Seen That Film? Where today we will be discussing a lost film of the 80s, but a lost horror film of the 80s. And actually quite good. The film The Fog, written and directed by John Carpenter, famous for Halloween, Mike Myers, Big Trouble in Little China, The Thing, Escape from New York, these such classics that are still talked about today. But this one is not so much talked about. Again, it's The Fog, starring Jamie Lee Curtis. Her mother also is in it, Janet Leigh, I don't know how to say her last name. Her mother was in Psycho. And among other characters. The story we don't see it start, but it essentially started 100 years from when the film began. 100 years ago, there was a ship that was guided by the lighthouse to always come and pick up supplies and be guided back, but one night it was moved, the ship crashed, and all 6 sailors died. And it was said that 100 years later they would come and essentially wreak havoc on the town until they had received the justice for what had happened to them. And we now get to, it's 100 years. It's been 100 years, and the town's celebrating their 100th anniversary. Woohoo, we did it, we made it. And a huge fog rolls over, and a lot of strange things happen that night. And 3 sailors, mysteriously disappear. And then the next day, people are trying to locate them, and they go out and find them, and they find that the 3 sailors have been killed. Well, not killed. To anyone else, it appears that they've been drowned, but not just drowned, but sitting in the water and absorbing the water. It's drowned in the water and in there for a very long time. What's mysterious, though, is that the 3 sailors, or at least the 1 sailor that was found, was actually found on board the ship. And there was nobody else there. And so some of the townsfolk start to become curious. The local priest of the area discovers a journal from his so many great-grandfathers about the events of what really happened the night 100 years ago when the 6 men died and the town became officially the town. And so the second night rolls around, and they're celebrating the 100 years, and even worse things happen. And that is where we'll leave it at, because I don't want to give too much away, but hopefully that description was good enough to at least draw you in. And if not, John Carpenter, he does a lot of unique and good stuff. What I enjoyed about The Fog is it wasn't over the top scary where I was the next day, like that night I couldn't go to sleep. But it still gave me some jump scares, and it felt in a way like a Hitchcock film with just a little more gruesome and a little bit more horror. What I mean by that it started off kind of slow. You know, when the first night that we witness, the night that the movie opens up onto, there's a few things that happen that aren't too terribly scary, but it gets you kind of wondering what's happening. And for those who are Hitchcock fans, that's kind of what he's good at doing, is he's good at slowly building things up until we get to where it's just boiling over and chaos is ensuing. And that's what John Carpenter did, in my opinion, with The Fog, is he slowly built it up, where when my wife and I were watching it, we the first half were like, it made us jump, but it wasn't like super scary. And we're kind of like, oh, but like, but we had watched enough that we're like, we gotta at least finish it. So when we finished it, we were glad we did, because we were actually like, okay, that got even scarier, and it really tied off, or it concluded well, and it was a great watch. I'm a little surprised with the rating. It was rated R, and I quite honestly don't know why. There wasn't any F-bombs, there was no nudity, the violence wasn't even that graphic. And so I don't. And even the scariness of it wasn't, I don't tell, like we were talking, like we would, if years down the road our daughter wanted to watch a scary movie that wasn't too scary, it was like, oh yeah, we could show you The Fog. So I don't get why it was rated R. So that was confusing, but that's just me babbling. But I do recommend this movie for people who want to see something that's scary but isn't going to give them nightmares. And this is the great film, because like I said, it's like Hitchcock but more scary, so that you get more thrill, you get more jumps and more creepy vibes, which is what makes the film so great. And it's fun seeing a very young Jamie Lee Curtis. Like, very young. When I think of... I was first introduced to Jamie Lee Curtis, I think, for at least the first Jamie Lee Curtis movie I remember seeing was Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan. So that's like the Jamie Lee Curtis I picture. But now I picture more so Knives Out Jamie Lee Curtis. And so this was start of her career. She had done a few things such as Halloween. This was, very young Jamie Lee Curtis. And she did a great job. And it was fun seeing her and her mom together in a horror movie, because both of them are in very iconic horror movies. Jamie Lee Curtis being in Halloween, and her mother, she being in Psycho. And so both were in these iconic horror movies that are still talked about today, and so it was fun to see them in a not so iconic horror movie working together in some ways. So that was a lot of fun. There was a lot of great elements to the movie, and it was great pacing and building up, which is something I enjoy and look forward to in a movie, something that continues to entrance me, continue to make me want to watch more. That's what this film did. So, as always, if you've seen this film, comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Did you think it was scary? Did you think it wasn't? Did you think it was great? Not? If you haven't seen this film, go check it out and then come back and let us know. I've been loving reading some of the comments on previous videos of people who have seen them and sharing their thoughts and their opinions on it as well. It's fun for me to see that. As well, if you haven't subscribed, click that button, because I love sharing, and I love again, the subscribing would alert you, and you'll be able to comment and share what your thoughts are. I love discussing films with people. So, thanks for watching today. Have a happy Halloween, and hope you enjoy this scary film yourself. Bye. That was my attempt of like a scary goodbye. So, just